Good evening and welcome to day 5 of our Advent retreat. And it's good to welcome so many of you to this time of preparation, a spiritual preparation, so that we can experience a rebirthing within our being, in our soul, in our heart, of the Christ child. But first, let us take a deep breath. And in our out-breath, let's just release any worries or tensions to our Father, Mother, God. And just relax. And just be aware. Be aware of where you are. Be aware of the silence, the stillness, as we come into the presence of God. A God who called you by name, a God who carved you on the palm of their hand, and a God who lovingly waits for your return. And though every child of God is invited to return to their Creator being, but only a few return. Many get confused or lost on the way. Ego seems to play a big part, and some fear. Fear of God, I guess, through their early years of formation within their church. So I'm going to read to you, if I may, a reflection taken from the 3rd letter of St. Clare to St. Agnes of Prague. Place your mind before the mirror of eternity. Place your soul in the brilliance of glory. Place your heart in the figure of the divine substance, and transform your entire being into the image of the Godhead itself through contemplation. And just relax. There are 2 reflections this evening. One is from Francis of Assisi and the other is from Henry J.M. Ewan. So the first we shall read, and that's of Francis of Assisi. And for day 17, the 17th of December, which is day 5 of the retreat, we read, "What is money worth? We should not think of coin or money having any greater usefulness than stones. The devil wants to blind those who desire or consider it better than stones. May we who have left all things then be careful of not losing the kingdom of heaven for so little. If we find coins anywhere, let us pay no more attention to them than to the dust we trample underfoot. For vanity of vanities, and all is vanity." And that was taken from the early rule of St. Francis. And Francis guides us now to read a portion of St. Mark's Gospel from the New Testament Bible, chapter 10, verses 17 to 23. As he was setting out on a journey, a man ran up and knelt before him and asked him, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit life?" And Jesus said to him, "You know the commandments. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not defraud. Honor your father and your mother. And he said to them, Teacher, I have kept all these things since my youth. And Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said, You lack one thing. Go, sell what you own and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. When he heard this, the young man was shocked and went away grieving, for he had many possessions. Then Jesus looked around and said to his disciples, How hard it will be for those who have wealth to enter the kingdom of God. Let me share with you now a prayer. Lord, sometimes it seems as if money can become like a drug. Many people would do almost anything to acquire more money, even if it means harming others. Having heard Francis' warning, may I never let the love of money become an obstacle to my relationship with you. The accumulation of money can never buy the happiness and satisfaction that you alone can give. And Francis leaves us with an activity for Advent. Is the accumulation of money the driving force in your life? Does money serve you, or are you a slave to money? This Advent, practice detachment from money by giving to others without any expectation of repayment. Participate in free activity that will bring you genuine joy, such as taking a child to a park, or calling a friend, or practicing a random act of kindness. A random act of kindness. And Henry J.M. Ewan, instead of looking at money, he shares with us, do you love me? Do you love me? At issue here is the question, to whom do I belong? To God or to the world? As long as I keep running about asking, do you love me? Do you really love me? I give all power to the voices of the world and put myself in bondage, because the world is full of ifs. The word says, yes, I love you, if you are good-looking, intelligent, and wealthy. I love you if you have a good education, a good job, and good connections. I love you if you produce much, sell much, and buy much. There are endless ifs hidden in the world's love. These ifs enslave me, since it is impossible to respond adequately to all of them. The world's love is and always will be conditional. As long as I keep looking for my true self in the world of conditional love, I will remain hooked to the world, trying, failing, and trying again. And that's from his book, The Return of the Prodigal Son, the story of homecoming. And Henry directs us to read a passage from Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 15 to 18. I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, as I am commanding you today, by loving the Lord your God, walking in his ways, and observing his commandments, decrees, and ordinances, then you shall live and become numerous, and the Lord your God will bless you. But if your heart turns away, and you do not hear, but are led astray to bow down to other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall perish. And the prayer, Lord, let the doubts hidden behind the question, do you love me, disappear as we advance through this Advent. Strengthen us to love, to observe lovingly your commandments and precepts. Let openness to your love be the watchword of our hearts. Amen. And again, Henry gives us an Advent action. Spend the day in a conscious effort to comprehend the fact that you are God's beloved. Banish the ifs, the conditions that bar our confidence in God's love. And there we have it. And as we relax, we reflect on those words. And we ask ourselves, do any of those words shared resonate with my heart this evening? Be still and allow the Spirit of God guide you to look again and see, where do you stand relating to money? Does it own you? Are you in debt up to your eyeballs? And if you are, then remember others own you. You're not free until you clear your debt. And we live in a culture, don't we, where we're encouraged to borrow. Our students who go to university take out these large loans that follow them wherever they go. Most people are in debt up to their eyeballs, and they think nothing of it. Spend, spend, spend. And there are those who are so much in debt, they think nothing as self-employed people of going bankrupt and walking away from the money they owe their creditors because they've used that money on selfish gains. But where do you stand? Are you on the side of the Holy Family, Jesus and Mary, who have very little except what they are wearing on their feet or on their back? And I pose the question, why do you need so many pairs of shoes when you only have 2 feet? Or more than one handbag? We have friends that we know who collect shoes, and the last I heard, they had over 350 pairs of different shoes. And another collected handbags, about 700. And another collected fur coats, fur hats, the latest designer cocktail dress. Oh. And yet, there are children of God starving, And it seems unfair that through no fault of their own, the adverse weather conditions and the various tsunamis and the various hurricanes have destroyed all their crops. And there you have the multi-billionaires lying awake at night for fear of being broken into. We come back to the reflection now that I shared with you at the beginning. Place your mind before the mirror of eternity. Place your mind before the mirror of eternity. And the next reflection, place your soul in the brilliance of glory, God's glory. And how does that leave you? Place your heart in the figure of the divine substance. Wow. And finally, and transform your entire being into the image of the Godhead itself through contemplation. Be still. Be still. And suddenly where we are, we become aware of a change in the atmosphere around us. Spirit leads us to be with Mary and Joseph, and we see through our mind's eye the darkness of the desert, and we can barely make out with our special torches the Judean sky, crisp, crisp. And now we see the Holy Family walking, stumbling in the dark. You can hear Mary groaning in pain. For every stone the young ass stands on, it ricochets up between her shoulder blades, and all the family are bothered about that you behave, that you toe the party line, and that you do not bring discredit. And we look at Joseph, and there we see an elderly man, a statesman, a man of great wisdom and learning, whom Mary loves. He said, let's stop now. And he asks you something very profound. Would you be willing to wash the feet of Mary? And immediately you fell on your knees to wash the feet of the Mother of God. And the messengers of God who are present escort Mary off the donkey with your help and lead her to a redundant cave. And there's no other life form here. We praise you for the beauty of this moment. And Joseph comes to you. Would it be too much trouble to ask you to bathe Mary's feet, for they are swollen and uncomfortable? Would you gently massage her feet with the healing oil? Say yes. Yes, I will wash the feet of the Mother of God. And as Mary's being assisted off the little donkey, weary, exhausted, and you can see the child is ready to come, but not yet. My Jesus, born to be of Mary, be born in us on Christmas morn. Empower us to reawaken to your beauty and to all that is sacred. Come to us. Give us the strength. And now you assist Mary to lie down, and Joseph fetches you some water from his pitcher, and placing a towel under your lap, you hold the feet of Mother Mary, allowing your love flow through them. And our Lebanese doctors have closed to all negative thoughts and advise us to remain positive even in the face of adversity. The great psychologists of the world reiterate the teachings of the ancient Essenes of Mount Sinai. And they say, which they've said for over 8,000 years, I am a child of God. I am whole. I am perfection. I am complete. Oh, my Jesus. My Jesus. You place Mary's feet on a piece of linen. And taking a sponge, you sponge her feet with the tepid water. And you're very aware they're tender and sore. But you repeat this by sharing the video of our first evening prayer for the fourth Sunday of Advent. And right across the horizons, angels are singing, angels are rejoicing, because you have facilitated this change of heart. I praise you, God. And Mary looks at you as you're gently bathing her feet, and she smiles at you. And Now you dry her feet. You cover them. Just relax. And receive a blessing from Mary as she reaches out her hands to you and calls you to come close. She embraces you. She touches you and thanks you. She thanks you for caring for her. Praise you, Lord. Be still. And just sense the peace of God. And take that peace with you as you retire. And ask the Lord Christ to take you to his etheric retreat and there bathe in the waters of love. Thank you for joining me. I hope that our sharing this evening moved you in some way. Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Pax et Bonum, OmShanti, Solo di Caritas, Salam Alaikum, and may the peace of God reawaken in your heart that God is both male and female. Amen. Praise you, Lord.